guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a long overdue updated eyebrow routine. Now this video has been so highly requested, so I'm excited to finally be doing it for you guys. I have a really old eyebrow routine from like forever ago, like a year and a half ago probably, and as a lot of you guys who've seen that have noticed, my brows have changed a lot in that time, and the style and the way I fill in my brows has changed quite a bit. So it was definitely time to do an updated version. I don't want this intro to be super long though, so we're just gonna jump in and get started. Alright, so welcome to my naked brows close up. Basically, the part in my routine when I do my brows is when I've just applied my foundation and concealer and I haven't applied any powder, just because I do go in and kind of conceal around my brows to kind of sharpen them. So I like to set everything afterwards once I already have all of my cream products on. So if I look funky or my concealer looks creasy or anything, it's because I haven't set anything. And also, I'm filming a first impressions for a foundation, which I think will probably go up before this, but I'm filming a first impression, so if my makeup is looking weird for any reason, that is why. But let's go ahead and get started. So the very first part of my brow routine is actually to prime my lids. My primer that I've been using lately is the Tarte Clean Slate 360 Creaseless Eye Primer. This has just been my go-to recently. So what I do is I actually just take a little dab of this on my ring fingers, and I actually bring this up into my brows a little bit as well. I've just always done this, and it just works really well for me to keep my brow products in place all day long. It seems weird to some people, but it's just what works for me, and if you haven't tried it, I strongly recommend you do actually. Alright, so now that I have that applied, I'm just going to be taking a spoolie and just kind of combing through my brows, getting them shaped the way I want, getting all the hairs going the right direction. And this also will remove any excess primer if I overdid it a little bit in any areas. And Anastasia Brow Wiz is actually what I'm going to be using to fill in my brows today. This is what I use most of the time now, or I use the Brow Powder Duo also from Anastasia. But this is what I've been using recently. I started just using this for days when I work because it's really fast and easy to do. And then I kind of just fell in love with it and I've been using it a lot lately. So I currently just have the shade Chocolate. So what I start off by doing is I start by kind of tracing the bottom line of my brow and just kind of really lightly shaping that. The way I fill in my brows is kind of weird because you'll see I kind of draw them on a little bit crazy, and then I use concealer to kind of sculpt away the areas that I don't want to be there, so they usually start off looking kind of crazy. Because I am not a professional makeup artist, just really lightly filling that in there. And for the most part, I really just try and follow the natural shape of my brow. I'm just going to repeat that on the other side. And I'm like hardly using any pressure. I'm just doing this really, really lightly. Since I like to go for kind of a more straight brow, I have these hairs here that kind of like droop over the edge at first, but I kind of gel those up with brow gel to kind of stick them upwards. But especially when I'm like looking down at this angle, it's like, what is that? Okay, so now that I've done the bottom and I'm looking totally crazy, I just kind of start to connect the tail. And then I just start to do the top and connect that as well. And on the top, I don't bring the pencil in very far on the inner part of my brow here because I want that nice kind of gradient effect when I'm done, and it can end up looking very harsh if I do bring this like right into here, like if I lined those two lines up. Alright, so now that we're looking totally crazy, I'm just going to kind of lightly fill in that space there, just really, really light, because when I go in and blend it out with the spoolie, it kind of blends together all that color. So when I do it this way, I can use less product. So then I'm just taking my spoolie and just kind of starting to comb through the brows once again to blend out that product and kind of soften up those kind of harsher guidelines. So then, like I said, I'm going in with concealer and I'm just going to really clean up my brows and get the shape that I actually want, because like I said, they look a little bit crazy right now, but I'm just taking the NYX Above and Beyond Full Coverage Concealer. This stuff is like an exact dupe for the Makeup Forever Camouflage Cream Concealers, the ones that come in the 5 palette, but they're way less money. And the brush I'm using for this, and I apologize that it's dirty, but it is the synthetic brush that actually comes with the Urban Decay Electric palette. You get this little kind of flat defining edge and then just like a larger edge there. I know it's really dirty, and it's only been like a couple days since I washed it. I just take a little bit of the concealer at a time and just kind of start to sculpt and define my brows. Get those really nice, crisp, clean edges. Since I have that kind of placed, I just go in with the other end and just start to kind of blend that out. And for this step, it's really important that you get a concealer that's as close to your skin tone as possible. Like if you use a lighter concealer for like your under eyes or whatever, don't use that same one for doing your brows, because if you use a concealer that's too light for this, it looks really, really unnatural and you're gonna end up with this really weird ultra highlighted brow. Then honestly, I just kind of repeat that step until my brows are even. So like here, I need to fill that in a little bit. Alright, so I'm going to have to cut out a clip there. Basically, I was just continuing to conceal my brows and just kind of get them the shape I want, but then they're like snow blowing my street right now, I guess, and it got so ridiculously loud, you guys, so I know that footage is going to be useless basically. But you guys saw the gist of what I do. I just kind of continue doing that until I get the shape that I want. But once I have them the shape I want, I just take my spoolie again and I just kind of really lightly comb through and everything and kind of soften it up in the inner part here. So once again, I can get that kind of gradient effect. So I know this is going to seem kind of excessive, but I actually use two different brow gels. The first is the Anastasia Tinted Brow Gel in Auburn, just because this is just what I have left. And the reason I use this is because I like to darken up my actual hairs, kind of add that more warm tone to them as well, since my natural hair is quite ashy. But I find that these tinted brow gels don't actually give any hold. So that's why I go in with the clear brow gel afterwards, because that provides like crazy hold. It's like hairspray brows. And honestly, brow gel is so important. I used to skip it sometimes, but it really does make a difference. I find the biggest difference it makes is that it kind of retexturizes your eyebrows. Especially when I'm filling my brows with powder. Like if I don't use brow gel afterwards, I find my eyebrows can look a little bit like fluffy. And now I'm just going with the clear brow gel, and this just basically helps, like I said, to kind of retexturize them, kind of redefine the individual hairs, and of course keep them in place as well. So then the last step is just to set all of that concealer that I applied around my brows as well as on my lid and my under eye. So I just take my beauty blender and quickly blend out my under eye concealer in case it started to crease a little bit, because sometimes it does in that time. And then I'm actually taking a different damp beauty blender and dipping this into the Laura Mercier Secret Brightening Powder and using this to set my under eyes. I use a lot of different powder steps to set my under eyes. This is just what I'm using today. So just packing that on for really bright under eyes. And like I said, the reason I'm including this too is because I bring it up and I kind of set that concealer with it as well. And so that is kind of the finished result of my brows. They are not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with how they turn out and the finished look. I just feel like my brows are so lacking definition naturally. I really like a bold brow to kind of balance out my face and even everything out. So yeah, that is how I fill in my brows. I've obviously gone ahead and finished off the rest of my makeup, but this is what the kind of finished product looks like with the rest of my makeup done. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and for those of you who have been requesting it over the past little while, thank you guys so much for being patient, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe to my channel as well, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys!